Yep. Good evening, everyone. So you tried that hook form example, huh? I showed you syntax yesterday. Have you tried? No. So you haven't tried that based on syntax, huh? So based on syntax, how the form is used, we learned. Let's create one small example and see. So yesterday we discussed about what is hook form. So React hook form related features we learned. Syntax also I given all of them. Designing form, setting the validation for form I showed. Let's create a simple form. So in our project, we need to try one simple example here. So let's see, the project is this. Yeah. In this, I will add a component called hook form demo and hook form demo.jsx. Let's create a simple form. So export function hook form demo, and simply we need to design one form, and we have some details like username and some mobile. Input type is text, so name as username. Every form element must have a name. For every third party it is mandatory. And mobile, let's take input type text and name as mobile. And we have a button submit, and the button type is submit. Let's keep this with a container fluid and a heading register user. And let's keep in the startup. So hook form demo. Now let's run, and the form is ready. We need to collect the data from the form and submit. So let's inspect with the console. Fine. How to collect data from the form? We need to install the library. What to install? npm install React hook form and save. It's installed. If already it is installed and you are again installing, no problem. Generally, it will reset. If any latest version is there, it will update to the latest. How do you know every library which version is added? You can go in package.json and see that all information is present in package.json. For example, if anyone asks like which bootstrap version this project is using, which React version project is using, which yup version, formic version it is using, then we can go to the package JSON. And in the package JSON, It will give you all the dependencies and their version. Bootstrap 5.3, Formic 2.4, all versions are available here. Package.json will contain all that information, right? Now, here we need to import. So we need to import use form from React hook form. After that, we need to configure the form. Constant form have three references. One is register that refers to form. Another one is handle submit that defines actions to perform on submit. Another one is form state. Form state is an object which will report the errors is equal to use form. Use form is going to return all these. Now we need to create a constant submit method which will collect the user details and it will submit the user details. Console.log, what is it? User. Form submit on submit, it has to handle submit. Handle submit have to call a function called, you see, on valid. On valid means it is already using a form state validation. It is verifying is form valid. If form is valid, it will execute a function called submit. Submit function will collect all the data from the form. We need to bind these references now. How? We need to put a dynamic expression spread operator and we have to access the form register for which field. This is for which field? User name. And comma, what are the validations you want? Validation I want required. Required is true. What else I want? Min length. Min length is 4. Whatever validations you want, you can define there. Okay. Now, if required problem occurred or min length problem occurred, or you can add any number of validations, whatever you have in HTML. If any problem occurred, then how to report the problem below? We will put a class text danger. How do we report the problem? We have to access dynamic expression errors. Errors is a form state errors object which will collect the errors from all fields. Errors dot field name. What is the field name? Username. Username question mark. Question mark dot type. If the error type is equal to required, that means we will write this as a condition. If it is required, now the question is, what is this question mark? And in JavaScript, we call this as optional chaining. In JavaScript, very important interview term is what is optional chaining in JavaScript. Optional chaining is very important in modern JavaScript. What is optional chaining and why we use optional chaining is C. To tell you that, I will first go to here your JavaScript example I will show. Suppose in JavaScript, we created some product object. This product object is having a name. So name is mobile. It is having a rating. Rating is an object. In the rating object, we are have rate some 4.3. Now what we are doing is we are trying to access some console.log or document.write product.name. It will print the name. So no problem. Roughly I will give here a product.name. Again, console.log, I am using product.rating.what rate. That's also fine. Console.log product.rating.reviews. There is no reviews property. For example, I return like console.log product.customer or vendor vendor.rating. Like this, I am writing. That means this is vendor rating. But actually, there is no key called vendor. There is no key called vendor rating. So, generally, if you are trying to access the keys which are not available, then JavaScript compilers will throw error. But actually, JavaScript is not a strongly typed language. No? If it is a strongly typed language, it exactly knows which data type it is handling, which keys it is having. If it is not a strongly typed language, then it will not verify the key present or not until or unless it run. Means runtime error will come. Compile time errors will not come. That means now compile time, what happens is it will run this vendor rating. I will show you here. Let's run this. When I run this in the console, you can see we have errors, and it is saying that, so other details are printed. It is saying that cannot read properties of what rating. And observe carefully, this one it returned undefined because there is no reviews inside rating na? But this last one, it says that I can't find vendor at all. Then where is this rating? Then we will say that vendor may be there or may not be there. If it is there, use it. If not there, ignore it. Then we put a question mark. This is optional chaining. When you put question mark, what will happen here is when you refresh, it will return undefined. It will not return error. This is very much used in modern JavaScript. Many people still don't know about it, but majority of JavaScript interviews, it is a popular question. What is optional chaining? Optional chaining means you are trying to use a property of an object which is not there. Then it will return errors. If you think that that will be added in future, currently it is not there. It will come in future because JavaScript is dynamically typed. It will come in future. It is not now. Later it will come. Then we will tell the compiler that ignore this. If it is there, use it. Otherwise, just keep it as undefined. It will not show any error. It will not show error. I hope you understood the point. That means this is called optional chaining. In JavaScript, we call this optional chaining. Observe why we are using that here is we are saying that if username is there with required error, then report the error. If it is not there, don't show any error. Simply use it as what? Undefined. That means if the field is used, use it. If field is not used, don't say that there is no field by that name, simply ignore it. That means if error is there, show the error. If error is not there, don't tell that there is no error, just ignore. That is what we call as optional chaining. Optional chaining is used for that purpose. That is optional chain. So optional chaining is the process of verifying whether a property available or not If property is not available, then make it as undefined. Undefined. That technique we are using here. We have to use here. It says that you must use optional chaining for this field. Why question mark? Because in meta characters you learned question mark means zero or one occurrence. Question mark means zero occurrence or one occurrence. That means that can be zero times or it can be maximum one time. Then we represent with a question mark. We have question mark, asterisk, plus different meta characters are there. So that is the technique we are using here. Side. I will give a simple point about it. What is that? Important question is what is optional chaining in JavaScript? What is optional chaining in JavaScript? Optional chaining in JavaScript. So JavaScript is not a strongly typed language. It uses dynamic types. So it verifies the keys. It verifies the keys at runtime. And if any key not found, then it returns error. You can avoid runtime errors and set keys as undefined by using null reference character, by using question mark, null reference character, by using null reference character. Right? For example, syntactically, name, suppose rating, rate, this is some data. Console.log. So here product dot rating dot rate. This will return 3.5. Rating dot reviews. It says undefined. Suppose vendor rate name, rating. Then here it says rating not defined. Where it is not defined, vendor. It will return undefined. Rating not defined error. right? So that is example. So this is optional chaining, which you will use in future in different places, especially while dealing with objects. Now, recently we can use for arrays. For array also we can use them. When situation comes, I will show you. This is now used in our validation errors of hook form, right? In hook form, we use it. So let's see here what we done. If errors date errors dot username, the error type is required, then question mark. If required error occurred, what to do? Render a span. In the span, put a message called username required. This is one colon. Otherwise, put a empty span. Don't show any message. But we have two errors. Then second error you put with end because both should satisfy. If you put or any one satisfied, it will skip to the next. So both must satisfy. What are the both required must satisfy? Min length also must satisfy. That means we will put another one. If errors dot what? Username question mark type. If it is what? Min length. If it is min length, then question mark. Put a span saying that name too short colon. Otherwise, put a span that is empty. Means don't show anything. Similarly, for mobile, we have to bind the same dot 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 register and which field mobile. Mobile also required true and mobile will use a pattern. Pattern will have a regular expression plus 91 slash d 10 digits roughly like this. You can add all the validation. Now error messages also same. So we have class. What is it? Text danger I will give. Yeah. Here error messages. What is it? Condition. Right. We will put a condition. So what is the condition? If errors dot mobile mobile question mark dot type is equal to required, then question mark, it should put a span mobile required. Otherwise empty span. And one more condition, errors dot mobile dot type is equal to pattern, then a question mark. You need to put a span and say invalid mobile plus 9110 digits like this we give. Otherwise empty span. This is typically unique inside this hook form. Like this we will not have everywhere. This is only for this library. Now you see the validations are there. Let's go and see the form here. You click on submit, it will show the message. We are typing, it says name too short and now it is fine. Mobile also same. You entered mobile, it is invalid mobile and you are adding plus 91. Now it is fine. And on submit, it should submit the data. So everything fine. But here also problems are there. Checkboxes, radio buttons, drop downs. We don't have validation. For that, again, we have to manually write the functions. We have to manually verify value is entered or not. Based on that, we need to display. So why so many third parties are there? Every third party will not suit everybody requirement. If it matches your requirement, use. Otherwise, go to another. We have more famous than these two. Another famous is Telerik. I showed you, na? Telerik is used by Microsoft, IBM like people. If you belong to technology like .NET, then they will ask mandatory knowledge of Telerik because Microsoft is official partner of Telerik. .NET is a Microsoft language technology. Anybody dealing with Microsoft technologies, mandatory they will ask knowledge of Telerik because it is official partner. They don't use others. They buy from Telerik. So depends on your technology what they are using. So we have seen two important. One is hook form, another one forming, right? I will give you one task to try by yourself. Will you try? Right? Explore and try. In a project, I will show you, right? What is the task for you is what you need to do is I will copy this example first. I will give this example. So this is a hook form demo dot .jsx. I will copy that hook form demo. How to install, set up everything yesterday given. So this is the point. Now, what is one extra thing you try? If you are unable to do, I will help you. I will tell you in the class. What you do is, see, you create a field called upload photo. Upload photo. And here we will have input type as file. So input type as file. And usually you will have a file upload option. Now you put a simple button here, class btn and btn link, and upload more. Now what is the point is d inline. So I think width is not enough. Huh? You see there is an upload more. What is that? Upload more is a button, not a link. When I click upload more, one more file upload should come. Understood? That means when I click upload more, the same element, one more should come. Second, again upload more, one more should come. So another one. So just beside this upload, you can put a button btn bi and bi trash and display inline. Display inline. Actually, this is one other trash button like this. And when I click this, it should delete. Understand? You click upload more, one more line should come. In that line, upload more will be there and delete button also will be there. When user clicks the delete button, then it should delete, right? So that you have to try. For this, they have a solution in hook form. in hook form, they have an option for this. You can add elements dynamically, you can remove elements dynamically into the form. You have to try, explore by yourself and see. Can you try? Try maximum, because in a project situation, when it comes, I will explain you. I will show you. But if you can try before that, that's very good. You try the concept. So I will copy this. I will copy this example. This is task. Huh? So dynamically add or remove elements into form. Add or remove elements from form. This is what you have to do. You try this concept. You explore the library. You have a solution for that. Check which one it is, how to use it. You can handle. If you know array concept, you can do. Array have a push and pop like methods, slice like methods. Using them, you can try. Try. If you can do that, it's good. Okay. So handling forms in React.js, now we have a clarity how to handle forms in React. What is the main thing you need to learn? How to design a form, how to validate the form, how to collect the data from the form, how to save in API databases. We will see the example project. We will see a small example. We'll see. But for that, these basics you need to keep ready. Now, React is not natively having everything for form. You have to depend on third party. But in React 19, they are trying some solutions to make it little better. However, they are not very great, but better. What is new in React 19? Let's see. So here, what's new in React 19 forms? What's new in React 19 forms? What is the new thing they are trying? And what are the new concepts they added into the form concept of React? So, what is new concept in React 19 is they have a option called form data. That is one new option we have. Form data is one important new option. What is form data is? Form data is a collection of keys and values. So form data is actually present in general HTML also. HTML browser can use the form data. Now React is trying to use in its virtual DOM. Actual DOM have that. For example, see, suppose we are going to a HTML page. In this HTML page, suppose we are having a form, some username and input type is text, name as username, and we have a button, submit button. Now observe carefully, form method I am giving as post. Later we will submit on to server somewhere. Now you can see in this form, I will right click, go to inspect. In the inspect, go to network category, keep the network open, type some data inside the form. First request the form, refresh the page. You see home.html came na. You enter some data and submit. It is submitted to server. It is showing not working because there is no server side logic. But you see here, red mark says the form is submitted. You click on that home.html. The first one was on get request and second one was on post. When you select that, you will see there is a form data here. In the payload, there will be form data. Payload means the data sent by form. And you can see headers. Headers means it will show what is the method, that is post method, what status code, which one, where it is posted. It will show all that information. There is payload category. Na? In the payload category, you can see there is form data. And form data is a key and value collection. This key is the field name. Field name means the input name you given, and it is its value. That means we can see what data is posted, even if it is password or any secret keys. Everything is visible here, right? Everything is visible in the form data. We can see them. That's the reason when we design as a developer, we have to encode the data. We cannot cleanly submit the data. For example, imagine this is a password. That means you see here, I will show here username fine. I say password, input type as password, name password. So you can see here, now I will refresh this page. You will see the first request, username, username, password I am entering. But when I submit, you can see in the home, the data contains password also. That means we can capture what he is submitting. So this form data is already present in your browser. It's not a new thing. Only the point is it is not safe. That's the reason we don't recommend to use this much. If you are designing a form and the fields that user fills doesn't have any high secured data, there is no privacy problem. You think that all data he entered, anybody can see, no problem, then you can try this. That means if you think that the data submitted by user is need to be secured, then form data is not a great idea. It has security issues. That's the reason we use third parties. Because third parties say that we can secure the data, we can encode the data. I told you about Axios and all, right? The point here is form data is already present in browser. It is a concept of browser form. And now React uses this in 19. In React 19, they can access the form data and use the form data, which is good, which is a simple way of collecting data from the form. They can simply collect the data from form and use it. Let's see how. So, how the form data actually works. Let's go to another one. I will add a new component, that is a new form demo. Okay. This is new form demo. Oh, JSX na. New form demo dot JSX. I will create one Git repository and share entire project of this project in Git so that you can clone into your repository. This entire project, whatever we are designing, this everything I will create one Git repository and I will share with you so that you can just link and you can get all the code I am writing here, right? So here first see export function. What is it? New form demo and return a simple div. We need a form data list, data term name, and input type is text. And here we have name as username. Okay, let's put something like mobile name like this. You can add all the fields. So we have name, mobile, something. And we have a button. This is a submit button. Make the type as what? Submit. Now, when form is submitted, we need to collect the data from the form. And you saw previously lot of problems, lengthy process. Now see what we can do is we will write a simple function handle submit click. Okay, on that we will collect E. This submit click will fire up when user submits the form. So on submit, what is it? Handle submit. I will just give handle submit. Okay. On submit, it should handle submit. Okay, that's fine. Now default submit have a ability to submit all the form data in URL. We have to stop that. E dot prevent default na. We have to stop the default submission. And we need to collect the data from the form and use it. It's very simple now. You can declare form data reference by using new form data memory, by using form data. This form data can collect the form. How to collect the form? E dot target that will collect the form. What is E? E refers to submit na. Target refers to form na, right? Target dot value, target dot name, target dot ID. That means the target refers to form. Entire form is collected and given to form data. And what is that form data you saw in browser? What is form data? In browser, you saw it is a key value collection. It is a key value collection, like it is like a map. Then what you do is console.log. We have to access username. How to get the username? Form data dot get and the key name. What is the key name? Username. In the next line, mobile is equal to mobile, and we need to access form data dot get and get what? Mobile. We are accessing the keys. And you see now here, we will make it in the startup. So new form demo, that is in the startup. New form demo is in the startup. Now we have name and mobile. Let's make this container. Class as container fluid. And padding some 4, just roughly. You can see this is the form we are having. We enter the data from the form inside the form, some mobile. And after that, we click on submit, it will submit. It's more easy. It is easy to submit the data. It comes now. That means we can easily collect the data from form and use it. So earlier we don't have this. So, and now even if it is have, we don't prefer this much. Why? Because form data is not always safe. So we prefer using other third parties only. But if you are dealing with a simple form, no complex, highly secured information is used there. There is no privacy issues. Then you can try this. You can use a simple form. For example, you are designing a search bar. Whatever user types, anybody can see, no problem. So then better you can go with this type. You don't need complex formic hook form for that. You can use a simple form data. So this is new in React 19 forms. So what is the new thing is form data. So what is this form data? Form data is a browser collection object. Form data is a browser collection object. It can collect the data from any form submitted on post. Remember, not submitted on get, because on get, if you submit, data is not in form data. Data is in query string. You know, na? When you submit data on get, data will not be in form data. Data will be in query string. Form data is only when data is submitted on which method? Post method. So it can collect the data from any form submitted on post. So it is a key and value collection. Key refers to field name, that is nothing but element name. Value refers to element field value. So that is nothing but element value. Value refers to field value, that is element value. So actually, it uses a dynamic memory to store form data. So what is problem with the dynamic memory? You know that dynamic memory is discrete memory, na? It is not good for, it is not good for continuous operations. It is not good for continuous operations because dynamic memory is disconnected memory. Because you already know anything allocated with new means it is dynamic memory, na? So static memory is good for continuous operations. Dynamic memory is good for discrete, disconnected operations. So syntactically, so form data is equal to new form data. New form data. Here we have to define a form reference. We have to define a form reference. That means the entire form reference must be used here so that we can collect all the data. So function handle submit we have to collect E. So let form data. Rest of logic I will give later. Just syntax I am giving. Form data E dot target. Sends form reference. Now what you can do, form data dot get, form data dot set. So form data dot delete, because it is a map na. So we have dot keys. So dot values dot entries. Like this you can access all of them. So form data. Right. So next important, what are all these methods? These are all the methods of a map, because form data is what type? Map type. Keys will return all keys. Values will return all values. Entries will return both keys and values. Both keys and values. Field name, value, everything will come by using entries. Okay. So example, new form demo dot JSX. Let me copy this example. This is one new concept in form. Next important in React 19. So another important concept is use ref. This already we learned. So here we can, what is the purpose of use ref? Use ref allocates a reference memory. As I told you, reference memory is good to use for internal process. If any value you want to store and use in the internal process and not to display in the output anywhere inside the UI, just you want to use internally to collect and submit, then you can use this use ref also. What is the specialty in the React 19 is they will provide a reference property. For example, see, I will clean up this code. Now submit everything is same. We need to collect data from two elements. One is name, another one mobile. So we can create here a constant. One is name reference is equal to use reference, and initially it is null. We will create another constant mobile reference and is equal to use reference, and it is null. Now a reference memory is created for name and mobile. What you can do is every HTML element have a reference property. This is something new. It have a reference property which can refer to a reference memory only. And we have a reference memory. What is the reference memory? Name reference. Am I right? And this reference will use which one? Mobile reference. That's it. That means now Everything ready. You want to collect the data and submit here. Console.log. Console.log. How to access any reference memory you already know. For example, I want to get username. How to get username? How to access name reference dot current na? You know how to access by using current refers to the current thread, right? And in the next line we have a mobile, and how to access the mobile reference dot what current. Through current we are accessing, and you can see here this time we are having this. You enter the name, I entered some name and some mobile is there, and submit. It should get the data and show here, but it is showing the object because current contains entire element. That means entire reference of text box, but we want only value na. So tell me what to do. So here dot value na. So because the current is referring to the current element value. That means now I will submit here some John, some name and number, and submit. It should get the 10 show. This is another technique. This is another new technique you can use, but it is not great if your data is used in UI. That means I told you it is reference memory. Reference memory is good for internal actions. If you are not presenting your data, you are just using the data and posting in the background, you are not showing anywhere in the UI, then better you can go with reference. So, but one other problem is reference memory will give more memory to the threads process. Then process becomes heavy. The process will become slow because even the form is using the process. Actually, form can be submitted without using process. But even form is using the process. Every element have a reference. This is good if you are doing some internal operations, but not good when you are trying to present in the UI. So this is also there. Majority, several people are not aware of these things because they are not very familiar. We don't prefer them much. That means even people who know React also, they don't know this. Many of them. Why? Because not required. Because they are not great every time, but in some occasions they are very good. And React 19 says that better use them for the situation. So we have another technique, and the technique is what? Use ref. Use ref. What is use ref? Already you know few points. It is a React hook. It is a React hook. It is used to configure a reference memory. Reference memory is intended to use within the context of process. It is good for values used inside process, but not for rendering in UI. So that is reference. So it configures a thread in current process and stores the value of element. Every HTML element, HTML form element can be configured with ref property, which maps to reference memory. So constant name reference is equal to useref and null. Input type is text. Name is equal to username. Ref is equal to name ref. Anywhere you want to access, you can access with reference of current thread. So we have name ref dot current. Actually, this refers to entire form element. Form element means input. Refers to input value. So that is another example. React 19 is having two more, but they are related to server side. Only client side we cannot use them. They are used when you are using React with a framework of server side like Next.js. Already I told you in the beginning, React have introduced several new features, but they are not for showing you. They are background process. They are for background process. That means internally it uses it. Because of it, the performance of React is better. React 19 says that I have a new concept, but that not concept is not for you to try. I will manage in the background. Right? So many such React concepts are there. So generally people confuse with this because when you are watching YouTube and all, anybody on YouTube will say that I will tell you React 19 new features. And he will say, I told you in the beginning, in React 19, server side rendering is new. Seriously, React is a client side library, and how it can have server side rendering? That is completely senseless. But in almost everywhere who tell you about React features, they will tell server side rendering is a new feature. How it can be? That is if React is used with server side framework. Server side framework. So several features of React are internal. They are not to show you. So some features you can't try until or unless you have a combination. Like, so what they added newly in React is use form state is one new one, and use form action is also a new one. Use form state, use form action. But they are not for just client side, they have a combination of server side. That means they are used to connect a server side function so that they can submit the data, form data to server directly. If server side you have a component ready, server side components are created by using frameworks like Next.js. From client component, you can post the data to server component. Server component can collect and use the data. For that, we have two options. One is form state, another one form action. These you can try only when you connect with some server side technology. Just a point I will give, but when we learn server side, I will explain that point. But in our React, we are not learning Next.js. We will just have a introduction about Next.js. Next.js is a framework, separate framework of React, server side framework. Just like Java people have JSP, .NET people have PHP, Python people have Django. Similarly, React is having Next.js, a server side framework for React, right? So technically, these are for server side actions. Just a point I will give you. So these are new React 19 hooks for handling server side actions. A client component can collect data from form and submit to any server component using the new hooks. That's the point. Even syntax will confuse you. You can't understand because that requires server side logic. That's the reason I will just keep the point. Later I will show. So use form state, use form action are good for server side actions. They are present in React, but they are mandatory to have a connection with server side framework. You can't even try sample also. We just need to understand some server connections, server side framework connection. So these are all the important things in React 19 forms. So in React 19 in forms, what is the new concept? So we are having form data, we are having a use reference, we have form action and form state. Form state. Now, once you know all the point about forms, now we will start one small project. We will start building a small application with all interactions. We call them as CRUD. And to design that, we need to learn one very big concept called routing. It is very important in single page applications. Entire navigation in single page application is designed by using routing. Now, what is this? We will see in next session. Tomorrow, don't miss this routing concept because that is the major one for projects in React. A React project is built by using routing. So you need to be very familiar with that, right? So till that routing concept completed, try to attend the batch regularly, even you have a busy business. Okay. Uh, Tomorrow we'll continue. Huh? Uh, Yes, Shravanti, what is your doubt?
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Ye- Yes, good evening.
Sir, actually, I have worked with React API. They also have used form data. Like
Uh,
as you told, like this has been introduced in the React 19. Like, could you
uh,
please
they
clarify?
have more improvements into the form data. So what you used in 18?
Like when I do a XGS call, like I have when the React hook form is submitted, I have collected the data through form data,
Hmm,
and I used to get it from the method.
hmm.
So that way, I have used it, sir.
It is there,
In
but
React,
the new improvements are added into form data. It handles server client side errors during the compile time. If you know about it, it is not there in your 18. I hope you got the clarity.
so that means you're saying it also supports some kind of client side errors. Like in what way, sir?
Yes,
Could you please
yes.
explain if possible tomorrow?
React 19 has added client side static error checking for all the form data. Okay. Is it there
Error
in
checking, sir?
18?
Okay. Actually, I've not understood, sir. What is static error checking? Uh,
Static type checking, you know, that means the type of value and the data is checked before it runs,
okay.
right? At runtime, if it checks, it is dynamic type checking, right?
Okay.
Earlier, form data is only dynamic type checking, but now it is static type checking.
Okay.
Okay.
That means even though I don't use the app validation or
Even reference, use reference, all these are there in React 18 also,
okay. Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
We
sir.
we are saying React 19 because there are several new improvements into them. Okay,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
right.